Imagine waking up in a world where the word fresh has nothing to do with soap, foam, or the sharp sting of alcohol on clean skin. Fresh does not come from a hot shower or a scented towel. Fresh comes from a handful of crushed herbs hidden inside your clothes. Lavender, rosemary, mint. Small green defenses fighting a battle they can never truly win. The air around you is thick, heavy, lived in. Your body carries yesterday and the day before and the week before that. Water is not comfort. Water is suspicion. A bathroom does not exist. There is no tiled room waiting with warm steam and shining taps. There is only a wooden basin, a draft of cold air slipping through the cracks in the wall, and the quiet understanding that cleanliness, as you know it, is a luxury that simply does not belong here. This is England in the year 1348, a time when staying alive mattered more than smelling pleasant, and the idea of washing your entire body could feel less like self-care, and more like a risk you might regret. Morning arrives without alarms, without glowing screens, without the hum of electricity. Light seeps slowly through a narrow window, pale and uncertain. You open your eyes to a ceiling darkened by years of smoke and step down from your bed onto a floor layered with dried rushes, straw mixed with herbs that were once fragrant but now carry a faint sweetness tangled with the dull odor of decay. They crunch softly beneath your feet, a brittle whisper that replaces the sound of modern tiles or carpets. The air is cold, not refreshing cold, but biting cold that slips into your lungs and settles there. Where beside the bed sits a shallow wooden basin filled with water drawn hours earlier from a well. Overnight it has turned icy, a thin skin of chill clinging to its surface. You dip a strip of coarse linen into it, the fabric stiff from repeated use. The moment it touches your skin, your fingers recoil. The cold is sharp, almost painful. You wipe your face quickly, your cheeks burning from the sudden shock. Perhaps you rub your hands, maybe your neck if you are feeling brave. This is not a cleansing ritual. It is a brief negotiation with discomfort. The rest of your body remains untouched. Layers of sweat, dust, and yesterday's labor stay sealed beneath wool and linen. There is no sense of urgency to remove them. In fact, there is comfort in their presence. Dirt is not automatically shameful here. It is familiar, almost reassuring. The smell of unwashed skin blends with smoke from the hearth and the lingering scent of herbs scattered across the floor. The day begins not with renewal, but with continuation. You are not becoming clean. You are simply preparing to endure another day inside the same skin you slept in. To a modern mind, hot water promises relief. Warmth flowing over muscles, steam lifting fatigue from the shoulders. But in 1348, hot water carries a shadow of danger. Medical knowledge is shaped not by microscopes or germ theory, but by fear, tradition, and the lingering horror of the plague. Physicians warn that bathing too often, especially in warm water, opens the pores of the body. And pores are not harmless details of anatomy. They are imagined gateways, tiny unguarded doors through which invisible threats may slip inside. Disease is not thought to spread through bacteria or contact. It drifts through the air like a curse, poisoned winds, corrupted vapors, a silent fog that enters wherever the body is exposed. Clean skin, soft and open from heat, is believed to be vulnerable. Dirt, strangely enough, becomes a shield. A thin film of grime is seen as a barrier, a protective layer sealing the flesh against unseen enemies. Washing too thoroughly is not just unnecessary, it can be reckless. The memory of the Black Death hangs heavily over every decision. Entire villages vanished within months. Families watched neighbors fall ill without warning. In such a world, caution turns into ritual. Bathhouses that once offered communal washing begin to close. The idea of immersing oneself in hot water feels less like hygiene and more like gambling with fate. And survival is not about comfort. It is about minimizing exposure. Better to endure the itch of unwashed skin than to risk inviting sickness into the body through an open pore. Cleanliness in this mindset is not purity. It is vulnerability disguised as luxury. Hygiene in medieval England is not equal. It bends sharply along the lines of wealth. The aristocracy follows a different logic, one that avoids water, yet still pursues the appearance of refinement. Instead of bathing, they rely on linen, fine, pale fabric worn close to the skin. It is believed that fresh linen draws impurities out of the body as a sponge draws water. A nobleman may change his undershirt several times a day, each replacement crisp and cool against his flesh. To him, this ritual is equivalent to washing. His skin may not meet soap for weeks, yet he considers himself clean because the cloth touching him is new. White linen becomes more than clothing. It becomes a silent announcement of status. A bright cuff, peeking from beneath a velvet sleeve, signals wealth without a single spoken word. Clean fabric suggests discipline, order, and control. The illusion of hygiene matters more than the reality of it. Appearance carries social power, and those who can afford frequent changes of linen hold that power effortlessly. For the poor, this option barely exists. Linen is expensive, precious, often owned in limited quantity. A laborer's shirt may be worn for days, sometimes weeks, before it is replaced or washed. Sweat darkens the fabric, and the scent of work clings stubbornly to every thread. Here, hygiene is not a daily choice, but a distant privilege. The divide is not simply about cleanliness. It is about visibility. The wealthy can project the image of purity without touching water, while the poor live inside the honest evidence of their labor. In this world, clothing does not just cover the body. It defines how society judges the person within it. If the body is difficult to clean, the mouth is a battlefield of its own. There are no soft bristled toothbrushes waiting by a sink, no minty pastes promising protection. Dental care in 1348 is harsh, improvised, and often painful. A strip of rough cloth replaces the brush. It is dipped into mixtures that taste more like punishment than hygiene: crushed salt, powdered charcoal, ground bone, bitter herbs. The texture is gritty, scraping across enamel with a sound that makes the jaw tense. Gums bleed easily, and the mouth fills with the metallic taste of iron. But pain is accepted as the price of prevention, and when prevention fails, fear takes over. Toothaches are not blamed on sugar or bacteria. They are blamed on creatures imagined to live inside the tooth itself, tiny worms gnawing at the roots from within. The solution is not gentle. It is immediate and brutal. A barber surgeon, more accustomed to cutting hair than curing illness, becomes the last hope. A pair of iron pliers glints in the light of a nearby candle. There is no anesthesia, no numbing agent, no comforting countdown. The tooth is gripped, twisted, and pulled in one violent motion. The crack echoes through bone. Blood follows quickly. The relief, if it comes, arrives only after the shock fades. Smiles in this era are cautious things, often incomplete, frequently hidden, and always carrying the memory of pain. Where water is feared and soap is scarce, scent becomes a substitute for cleanliness. Perfume is not a luxury reserved for vanity. It is armor against the unavoidable presence of human odor. Small pouches of herbs are sewn into clothing. Oils are dabbed onto wrists and collars. Rosewater, musk, cinnamon, and amber drift through rooms, not to create beauty, but to conceal reality. The goal is not to smell wonderful. The goal is to smell less human. Scent also becomes a language of class. The wealthy carry layered fragrances that linger softly in the air behind them, a moving cloud of refinement. Their gloves, hair, and sleeves release gentle sweetness with every motion. The poor, meanwhile, carry the scent of labor: sweat, smoke, earth, animals. In crowded streets, these smells collide and mix, forming invisible boundaries. You do not need to see someone's clothing to guess their status. You can sense it before they even speak. Perfume is not only about hygiene. It is about identity, about controlling how the world experiences your presence in a time when true cleanliness is difficult to achieve. If personal hygiene is a private struggle, waste is a public reality that cannot be ignored. There are no flushing systems, no hidden pipes carrying refuse safely away. Even in castles, the solution is startlingly simple. A small stone chamber juts out from the wall, containing a wooden or stone seat with a hole beneath it. This is the guardrobe. Everything falls downward into a pit or moat below, where it remains, slowly fermenting under the open sky. In the heat of summer, the fumes rise thick and stinging, burning the eyes and tightening the throat. Privacy exists, but comfort does not. Yet even here, practicality finds strange opportunities. Noble families sometimes hang their finest garments inside these chambers. The sharp ammonia rising from waste helps kill insects that might otherwise destroy expensive fabrics. The toilet becomes a fumigation room, an uncomfortable but effective guardian of luxury clothing. Cleanliness and filth intertwine in unexpected ways. Beyond castle walls, conditions grow harsher. In towns and cities, shared latrines serve entire neighborhoods. Wooden buckets are emptied into pits, or worse, tipped directly into street gutters. Waste flows along uneven ground, collecting in corners and beneath doorways. House managing this overflow falls to a group of workers known as gong farmers, men who labor under the cover of night, descending into cesspits with shovels and bare hands. Their task is as dangerous as it is necessary. Toxic gases gather in the darkness below. Some suffocate before they can climb back out. Their work keeps cities barely livable, yet their names rarely enter written history. They exist in the shadows, carrying the burden of everyone else's survival. Step into a medieval city, and the senses are immediately overwhelmed. Streets are narrow, buildings lean inward as if whispering to each other overhead. Smoke drifts from countless hearths, mingling with the odors of animals, waste, and damp straw. The air feels heavy, layered with scents that never fully disappear. Sound echoes off stone walls. Footsteps, distant shouts. All the clatter of carts, creating a constant murmur that replaces silence. There is movement everywhere, yet little space to breathe. In this crowded environment, parasites thrive quietly. Worms living inside the human body are so common they are almost expected. A swollen belly does not always signal hunger. It often signals infestation. Fatigue is constant, a dull weight behind the eyes, accepted as part of ordinary life. Few people understand the connection between sanitation and sickness. Discomfort becomes normalized, woven into daily existence like the threads of their clothing. Animals roam freely through the streets, pigs rooting through discarded scraps, dogs weaving between legs, birds circling overhead. They serve as both cleaners and contributors to the chaos, consuming refuse while leaving their own behind. And the city becomes a living organism, breathing, sweating, and decaying all at once. To a modern observer, the environment might feel unbearable, but for those who grow up within it, the smells and sounds fade into background noise. The human body adapts, noses grow less sensitive, expectations shift, endurance strengthens. Life continues not because conditions are easy, but because people learn day after day how to exist inside them. And yet, despite the smells, the discomfort, the constant negotiation between dirt and danger, medieval life is not a story of surrender. It is a story of adaptation. People do not simply endure their world, they learn how to survive within it. Knowledge travels not through books for most, but through families, neighbors, whispered advice, passed from one generation to the next. Herbs are not decoration. They are medicine. Garlic is crushed and applied to wounds. Vinegar is used to rinse skin and tools. Wine precious and strong, cleans cuts when nothing else can. Fire becomes a purifier, heating metal instruments and boiling fabrics, not because germs are understood, but because heat feels safe, cleansing, controlled. These practices do not eliminate disease, but they create small advantages, thin lines of defense in a world filled with uncertainty. People observe patterns. They notice which plants soothe pain, which smells repel insects, which habits bring slight relief. Survival becomes a quiet science built on experience rather than theory. Even waste, overwhelming as it is managed through necessity. Workers risk their lives to clear cesspits. Animals reduce mountains of garbage simply by feeding. Our rivers carry away what cities cannot contain. None of these solutions are perfect, but perfection is not the goal. Continuation is. Every day lived is proof that resilience, not comfort, is the true measure of success in this era. It is easy from a modern distance to look back and see only filth, to imagine ignorance, neglect, or indifference. But that view misses a deeper truth. Cleanliness is not merely a habit, it is infrastructure. It requires running water, fuel, soap, time, and scientific understanding. Remove those elements, and hygiene becomes improvisation rather than routine. The people of 1348 are not unaware of discomfort. They feel itch, soreness, fever, and fatigue as sharply as anyone today. What differs is the framework through which they interpret these sensations. Illness is not something picked up from a surface. It is something that drifts through the air, something that seeps in. Their behaviors, strange to modern eyes, are logical within their beliefs. Inside smoke-filled homes and crowded streets, they still search for dignity. They comb their hair, change their linen when they can, scatter herbs across their floors, and perfume their sleeves before stepping outside. These are not empty rituals. They are attempts to create order in a world that rarely offers it. Medieval hygiene is not a failure of care. It is the best compromise available within harsh limits. And when you understand that, the past stops looking like a collection of bad choices and starts looking like a testament to human endurance. A reminder that survival often demands creativity more than comfort. And so the next time warm water runs effortlessly from a tap or a clean towel waits within reach, it is worth remembering how recent these comforts truly are. Life in 1348 was not defined by laziness or neglect, but by constant adjustment, by people doing everything they could with what little they had. If this journey into the harsh reality of medieval England surprised you, take a moment to share which detail stayed with you the most. And if you want to explore more hidden chapters of history, the strange, the uncomfortable, and the unforgettable, consider subscribing and joining the next journey into the past. Because sometimes understanding where we came from makes the present feel far more extraordinary.